and welcome to another episode of the Ultra Happy Podcast. I am your coach, ultra runner, and host, Tania, and your magnificent co-host, Andy.
Hey, I think you forgot who you were there.
I know, and I totally practiced a different intro for today.
That way.
Clearly missed it.
Who knows?
And I was going to introduce you with a different thing because you said you don't like magnificent anymore. So I had a new one.
You want to do it again?
I totally. Hey, what's up, ultra happy runners? I am your host, Tania.
And non-runners.
Just whatever, man. We'll try next episode. All right, pretty quick life. How's everyone doing?
Still doing this, are we? Everyone's fine. Everyone's doing good.
Clearly, I'm having one weird mental day. So, quick life updates. First of all, Andy is back into the 10-kilometer saddle. Yay!
Yes, I am. Yes, and actually, I was quite proud of myself. And I don't say that very often, but just even the fact that I got under the hour for my 10K, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to be a bit longer than that, but no, I was quite happy with that.
Yeah, I think we should get you signed up for the race.
I think everybody just needs to just hold on.
I think it's time. What do you guys think?
What race?
I think it's time. It's time.
What race are we doing in Dubai in 50 degree heat?
No, but then you sign up now and then you do it when there's races. I think they are later in the year because obviously it's too hot right now. So you start getting ready to it. Maybe a half marathon in November, December, for New Year's or something.
Okay, let's put that.
And that's it. He said okay. I'm taking that.
I was saying everybody just wait.
No.
I was going to say hold
okay.
on.
Done.
Let's put that under review. But yeah, actually that sounds quite exciting. I do think it would be quite good for me to have a challenge.
I think you would like that as mentally because you were having that
No.
That you were you were getting a little bit bored about the 10K. Maybe it's time. I think when that happens, it's time to put a little bit of a challenge. So maybe that will, spark up your motivation.
Okay, two things.
Okay, one.
I like watching documentaries when I run.
So that's gonna be
and the second thing is, I also don't really like running outside.
I know you'll have to.
I'll need to figure
that
that out.
But I mean, you didn't like running, and look at you now that you are running. So maybe you just need to try it a little bit more.
But I guess it's the next natural progression. Yeah, doing something.
And in regards of the documentaries, maybe we can get you one of those. Have you seen there's a necklace and it's a TV hold, a phone holder?
You're off your head.
So you can run with that. So you can be running and then watching.
Maybe I could get the Apple glasses.
Oh.
And run with them on.
Can you watch things in the Apple Watch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd sure be bumping into
I was
things
gonna
as
say,
well.
imagine that in the trails. That would not work.
Maybe is there something in it?
That
would be incredible.
That would be super funny. Trail runners, I don't think that will work for us anyway.
But just actually talking about the 10K, today was my 5K day, and it felt like nothing, which was strange. Because even in the past, my 5Ks after doing 10Ks,
you were struggling already.
It's not that I was struggling. It was just they seemed still
long,
relevant. Whereas today, after doing a 10K, not yesterday, the day before, it was just it was over and done quickly, and I was like, oh, it just felt a bit weird. And
time to do 15.
And I'm doing more leg strength training.
Oh yeah, I seen some calves coming out.
Yeah, they're a bit different from yours, but yeah, that's definitely helping.
You can see the leg changing.
And I have planned in, and I'm not telling you when I am doing it, but I'm planned in my head when I'm going to do my 15K. But that'll be the first time I've done a 15K. I feel confident.
I mean, in the treadmill or outside?
No, I'll be in a treadmill to do it first.
But you're going to do it somewhere.
No, I'm going to do it sometime. I'm just not telling you something.
Oh, when? Okay, I thought you were going somewhere to run in a treadmill.
Because I'm surprised I'm telling you actually. Because every day it'll be have you done your 15K? Have you done your 15K?
Oh, no, that's it, guys. Let's just bother him. I find him in Instagram and just every day let's just bombard him.
But thank you for asking. I appreciated my running journey being included.
I feel like my Instagram, everyone's just asking more for your journey.
How's the non-runner getting on?
Is he still alive? I think they're concerned.
Although
Though.
funny story.
Maybe they'd be concerned.
One of our friends here in Dubai, Stevie, big shout out to Stevie if you're listening, had text Tanya and said, "Oh, do you fancy maybe a run at the weekend?"
Oh yeah.
And she said, "Yeah, that sounds good. I've actually got running in my training anyway." And he said, "We'll maybe do maybe a 10k or something like that." But Andy's running now. What do you think? Do you think he'll join in? What did you say?
Are you joining in?
No, you said depends on how mental it is.
I know. I'm like, what are you talking about?
And I was like,
Because last weekend, guys, I had really exciting. It was a 10k, same, but I went climbing up Jebel J. It's called, and is the highest point in the UAE, and it was beautiful. It was this group that I found online again, but they are like proper trail runners. And it was great. It was only 3 of us, and I did say like I have to take it very slow because I still feel a little bit wounded, and obviously the other next race is pretty soon, so I don't want to go too wild or injured or anything. So I still pretty hesitant to go too wild, but it was great. We just walked all the way up, and it was beautiful. So yeah, 10k can look fairly easy, or can be brutal because it took us 3 hours in the climb up. So yeah, exactly.
And what about the footage? We discovered that you can get a drone that can
That
follow
follows you.
And the footage.
I think that's gonna be the
and
next
again, those
investment.
guys were great, but the footage for that was stunning.
Yeah,
it was
I
amazing.
think I'm gonna get the next investment. So yeah,
Love
please like, subscribe, everything, because that can help us to get to that stage where we can show you all that footage. So great for Gobi. So far we've sent the forms, like I said.
Hold on, how long is it to go to Gobi?
3 weeks to go to
3
Gobi.
weeks.
I have to think about that. 3 weeks to Gobi. I think it's 15, 20 days, something like that, to get there and start rolling.
3 weeks till me and the dog can chill for a week.
Is that what you're looking forward? You guys probably like all the things that you want to do. I mean, we work here together every day, all day. So probably I would think it would be a nice break for you and the dog, definitely. It's going to be a nice break for me. So yeah. So for Gobi, yeah, we've sent the forms. Flights are booked, and I was wondering if you guys are interested in the pricing, the breakdown of the pricing at all. I feel like I haven't talked about it, and that's a one thing it kind of comes out when I'm chatting about these races and all that, like, oh, how much it is and how much is, the equipment and all that. I don't like talking about those things, but if you are interested, I can definitely do a breakdown of each race, or, like an average price. So, if you're looking or you're interested in doing a race like this, you can have the roundabout costs, how much you need to save to go into one of these expeditions. So that, let me know. And also we received now the tent numbers and the bib numbers that we're going to be doing the race. So sadly, I am not the same bib number this race, which I forgot to message because I was going to email the organizer.
Yeah,
it's not
race
Sam,
director.
it's now a different one. It's Mary Gannams, which is the owner or like the founder of the Racing the Planet. And I totally forgot to email her to say I want the same number because it was so perfect. So this time I am bib number 13. What?
As the saying goes, unlucky for some.
No, I'm just going to think it's lucky. It's a lucky
Well,
13.
actually, do you know, funnily enough, see in some civilizations in the past, 13's been a really lucky number.
There you go. So if
Maybe
you're
for a
like
Mexican.
into, if you're into numerology or something, can you tell me 13 is good or bad?
Anyone into numerology, let us know.
Yeah.
Because I think that'd be interesting.
Or sometimes they add the 3 and the 1 and it's 4. So
I think
that can be something.
don't know about that.
Yeah, they add the numbers. But 10th number, I am 10th number 18.
What are the chances?
So
That's amazing.
at least the 18 stays with me somehow. So that's good.
Did we tell everybody about how important 18 is to you and I?
Oh, I don't know.
don't
I
know
just
if we
said that 8 was a very a lucky number in my
Yeah.
family. Like my dad has the 8 and 18 and those kind of numbers. follow him through all his life, and it's like chilling. Like he has many examples. So it's funny that now that number is kind of
And
like
I'm 9
following me
and
now.
18. And even in all the apartments that we've stayed in, for me, and all the houses that I've stayed in, I've always revolved around the number 9 and 18. This one doesn't,
No,
does it? This
you
one
have to
doesn't.
add the numbers.
Yeah, it
See
doesn't.
what I mean?
But yeah, it's strange.
And also they sent us the statistics a little bit about the race. We have 31 countries that are going to be represented in the race. I think there's another Mexican, by the way.
You said to me there was
There
another
was
Mexican.
another Mexican, but he lives in I can't remember. South Korea, Japan, I don't know, somewhere around there.
Remember,
But
our geography's terrible.
it doesn't it doesn't live in Mexico. But I know there's another Mexican. So at least I'll be able to speak Mexican.
You speak Mexican, Spanish.
It's a different language. So it says, and 14 people are attempting. I don't know if I mentioned this since the previous race. So there is 14 people like me attempting the Grand Slam or the Grand Slam Plus, so 4 or the 5. So there is 14 people like me. So hopefully we all make it to the end, but you never know. There's 14 people still on the go. And there are only 31% women represented in the race. So 70 odd men.
But when you say only 30 odd %, that's not too bad.
That's not bad.
Because it's getting better and better. And even when we were speaking to Sam previously on the other podcast, she was saying at one point it was down at 10%.
Yeah.
So that's
I
getting
think
better. That's good.
For stage racing in particular, I can feel that there's definitely much more women representation, more than the one stage non-stop races. Like one stage, like non-stop, we still feel like we're not even 10% sometimes. So in these ones, it's quite nice. I'm still very under half, but still.
Actually, I don't know if you're going to mention it, but there was a bonus episode that Tania's released this week, just with you speaking with Manika.
Yeah.
Sorry, Manika, if I'm not pronouncing that right.
Manika.
But it was really interesting watching that and listening to her, because she's new to ultra running.
Yeah.
And actually, it's about what brought her to the sport, how she ended up there, coming from being a sprinter into that long distance, and some of the struggles she got over. And I thought that was really interesting. But I think actually that more females need to hear that story and your story, just so that it brings more into it.
I think that's one of the, and actually you can read in my bio for the race, that's what it says, that one of my goals, apart from fundraising for kids in Mexico, the other second kind of goal that I have is, and that's the other reason why we're doing the podcast, is to showcase women in this sport, and then from all levels, hopefully we can get someone that is like maybe a podium runner, someone that sees the race in a different angle. And we had Manika, that is again new one, and then me, maybe I have a little bit of experience in the ultra running, but still new in this kind of races. So just race awareness, I guess, that of these kind of sport, and we're actually good at it.
I think that works for both men and females, because the other thing is men. The more that we go through these podcasts and the more that I see about it, you do see more women getting better results and definitely being more prolific at the moment, because men have held that medal or that trophy for such a long time, and women are coming up behind now, getting quicker, more in tune with the sport. You've talked about in the past about how women are more built for these longer distances. I don't know if we've
talked about it, but that's a really good point. I think we had a chat in one breakfast. We were like having this like heating discussion, because it's now tested and found it. If like there is now papers written down saying that women were made for endurance, and it's because we're so fat adapted, and we're good at fat oxidation. And that's sort of what we do, what we're made for. And that kind of works in the pro of a long race. So the longer the races get, or the further the distance it gets, the difference or the gap between men and women starts decreasing. And it's like that an actual study about this. So the more women we have out there, the more women are trying to this, maybe we'll find the ones that are spiking in being really good at this. And
But it was quite interesting when we were reading about it and talking about it, because whenever Tanya has these conversations with me, I'm the Google man. Matt, is that
oh
right?
yeah, we're like,
Let me
Google
just,
that.
Let me just check Google and see what Google's saying. So I was reading about it, and we were reading it sort of at the time as we were discussing it, and it was saying, well, men are still stronger and more prolific right now at this time. It does show that women in longer distances are getting better for not just the fat reasons that Tanya's talking about, because they need
mentally.
less sleep, because mentally they can do longer distances. So actually, I thought that was really interesting. But I think what that'll do is in the future, it will drive men to improve as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because if women are coming up
But
behind
now
them,
we're like, we're
it'll
trying
drive
to
men.
catch you guys.
Yeah, but I love that. I love it.
And it's not like you said, not only physically, but mentally, we're better equipped a little bit.
Whoa.
Yes, because, and I'm going to say why. Because I was reading these studies, and, you know, they saying that women know how to take care of themselves better, just biologically or, you know, just psychologically wise. And also, we know how to pace ourselves. Men go with like testosterone, like go fast, go hard, go, you know, and they kind of like forget that, oh, you need to pace yourself a little bit. And women, we're better at thinking in the future, like planning and that kind of like, or patient in that sense.
Yeah.
And again, like we were saying, this sport is all about managing
Yeah,
yourself.
managing yourself,
And
yeah.
we're really good at it.
The reason I was laughing there is that the biggest, not an argument, but the biggest issue that we have when you and I go out running is that I naturally run
Naturally.
faster.
He wants to go faster than
No,
me.
I naturally run faster, right? And I think it's because I run on the treadmill, right? But Tanya runs at a much slower pace, and I need to slow down.
But I
and
told
initially,
you.
I feel it difficult to do, but then once I settle into it, I'm grand. But then looking at my stats, and I'm not a stats guy, right? But then looking at my stats, I can see quite clearly now that when I slow it down, is it my aerobic capacity is getting better?
Exactly.
Who knew it was so technical? Remember,
No,
I was
but-
just saying it was
but
one
then-
foot in front of another.
And then it's like, just slow down because you're going too fast. And then, because we're going, I know one day, the first day that you were trying to do 1 hour, right? Because I train by time, not by distance, which we spoke about. And you were like, I'm like, you need to slow down because it's minute 15 and you're sprinting. Like, you need, like, we still have 45 minutes. And you're like, no, I'm fine. And then, like, 20 minutes later, and they're like, I think that's it. I'm going to just go home. Like, no. We walk, it's fine. And we had to totally slow down into a walk for a little bit to kind of, you know what I mean? So pace back to it. So instead of stopping, we could have prevented that. Just slowing down since the beginning.
See, that just proves that I'm not an experienced runner.
So
Remember, I asked that question.
Well,
when
that
you're
was
an
long time.
experienced
Well,
runner?
not a long time ago, but that was, you know. So all those things you have to learn to, and then learn about your pace as well.
But I'm finding that out now.
Exactly. So yeah, he's like, even though I told him, he wants to experience it himself. So
Who knew
he
it
wants
was-
to suffer.
Who
So
knew
it's
it
fine.
was so
And then now I'm like, and when I see him like going fast, like, you go, mate, you're gonna die in like 10 minutes. So it's fine. I'll catch you up later. So yeah, and the oldest runner in the race, now speaking about this changes and everything, is 71 years young.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Can you imagine being 71 and doing one of this?
I mean, I know we quite often talk.
I mean, you're
about
closer to
saying
that age than me, though.
ultra runner. Aye, very good. I know that we quite often talk about the ultra community, generally speaking, as an older community. Although there's a lot more younger people coming in, we can see that.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that
older.
71. That's incredible.
That's one thing I notice about this race is that it's a little bit different than the Ultra X, the one that we did that is not self-supported. It's the same thing, same idea, stage racing, but not self-supported. That race was very young oriented. Like there was a lot of young people, which was super fun because it was a little bit, more fun. And there's, more people about your age and everyone was kind of like partying vibe and it was a little bit more, And this one, I did notice it was a lot of older people. Not old, but just older. So 71 is the oldest participant. So
We even because
was that what like
we watched quite a few. I think you might actually even mention that we watched quite a few videos because on documentaries because that's what we do when we're planning for a race. It's like anybody else, I guess, if they're doing something, they're kind of strategic about it. And you could see that it was, even just by watching it, the past couple of years, that it's an older generation that do racing the planet, which is quite interesting. A lot of them do it for the fact it's a scenery and they'll never experience anything
Or
like
because
that
you just
again.
want to
Or they
disappear
just
for a
want
week.
yeah, I think it's interesting. But it's interesting the reasons that people do it as well.
Just want to disappear for a week.
Yeah.
We're chatting with a couple of people and we were kind of like reflecting on the reason why it was like older people doing this and stuff. One is that I just want to disappear, from everything. And another one's also, like I was saying, time also is difficult for young people to,
Find
maybe
the
if they
time,
are
yeah.
young and working
Work.
and just finding like 7 days to go, and it's a little bit more around 10 days that you need off. So it's not a lot of people can do that. So maybe only if you're older and you have that, facility in your schedule. And the other one's obviously the budget. Money wise, their races are a little bit pricey. Obviously, even getting there, you need flight, and then you need to pay the accommodation. You need the equipment as well. So it's not as budget friendly. So if you're young and you're starting, I would feel quite difficult to, maybe that price point is definitely a topic of entry point. Like, it's difficult to get there.
Whereas
just because of
doing an
budget.
ultra in your own country is you just
Yeah.
turn up with the gear. Well, you
And
just
still
sign up, turn up with the
expensive,
gear.
though.
I was going to say that it's still
Still
quite
expensive.
expensive.
But I mean, 100 couple, because that 1,000 is a
but-
big jump.
But also, I think that if you're training to do something like that, I'm not saying it's not about the money. What you might do is you'll do maybe a couple ultras a year rather than 4 or whatever.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because
And then you start saving.
Your heart's in doing
Yeah.
those because you love doing them.
Yeah, and you start saving. You start working around things to, like, for example, I save a lot of money, and I don't know, and I don't go out and get fancy coffees or Starbucks or anything. Like those little like saving things that can, for me, that's my way of saving. I don't do that often, so I can,
It's the one thing with the ultra community that I definitely respect a lot, is especially when you see people planning out their seasons, whether it'll be one ultra they're doing, or they're doing 3 ultras, or like, for example, you're planning out a season where you're ultimately going to be doing like 5 or 6 in a year. To have that commitment and that training and that ambition and goal to go and do that, especially people as well that's their first ultra, that's like that is a real mind over matter excitement. I'm going to get there, I'm going to get it done, I'm looking forward to it. I have a lot of respect for those people,
and that's why we're signing you up for one.
I don't know about an ultra. Let's not get ourselves too excited.
Listen,
yet.
you have 20. Is it 71 years? So you have 20 odd years to train to get there. So it's still hope.
Okay.
It's still hope. You have
Okay.
20 years in the bank. And yeah, I think that, or I don't know why people don't try them, like, or more women. I feel like maybe because, and I'm gonna get a little bit reflective here, and maybe because maybe because this is how my brain works. I don't know if everyone's brain works, but we're very prone to comparison, like comparing ourselves.
Yeah.
And I had to stop that. Since very starting of my running journey, I kind of realized that was a thief of all happiness, like starting to compare with yourself. And if you want to be ultra happy, I think that is one of the things that you need to, like, not totally erase from your life, but find like a nice balance in between. It's good to be competitive, and it's even good to feel jealousy sometimes about, like, when I see someone doing something, I'm like, oh, why I cannot be doing that? And that sparks, curiosity. So it's good to have that. And maybe not, obviously not the horrible jealous type that hatey type of jealousy, but it's good. It's, I think, healthy to feel that kind of, feelings, but kind of direct them in a better way. Like, oh, I want to do that. What do I need to do to be doing what that person is doing? And it can be running wise, but it can be career wise, or I've applied that in our business plenty of times. Like when I see something or a business model working, I'm like, how that is a great idea, and I feel jealous. Like, how is he doing that and not me? And then I start thinking, how can I copy, or how can I do that? And I kind of make it work. So so
I think the reason that people don't get into ultras is I still don't. Well, first of all, I've said it right from the
Or
beginning.
running.
It's not such a well-known sport.
Yeah.
But coming from someone who had never done an ultra, didn't know what it was, and I'm doing the 10Ks and want to do more now. That mileage and that torture in some cases terrifies me. And the thing is if you think about it, the first thing, if you think about it, the first thing that people say to us when we say, they'll say, oh, what do you do for fun? And I'll say, whatever. And you'll say, oh, I'm an ultra runner. They'll say, oh, what's that? And you'll say, oh, well, I run, I run races or whatever over 50 kilometres, right? What's the first thing people say is, wow, that's incredible. I could never do that. And 95% of the people say that. So
and I'm like, anyone, like, if you want to, you could. I just hate that when people say that.
But even runners and marathon runners say that.
Don't say that.
But marathon runners say that to you as well.
Yeah,
and I think that the
quite
reason why there's
frustrating,
not as many people doing ultras, whether it be 50 kilometres or whether it going to the Cocodona 250 or whatever, people are scared of that. They're scared of a certain distance. But I think through this podcast, through speaking to other people, that hopefully people will see that once you get one done, speaking to Monica, she's got the bug now.
I know.
She was only going to do one, then she wants to do 4.
It's
once
like
you get
jumping
one done,
off a skydive.
Yeah.
You're like very scared at the beginning.
Exactly.
And I still feel scared when I'm in the start line of an ultra. I think that fear never leaves you. Like, you can tell people I cry almost at the start line of every ultra because I am scared. Like, I am scared. Like, true scared. Like, I am crying. Like, I still cry. Not in these ones because they're not one non-stop, and I know I will be able to survive them. The challenge here is the 5 of them, but it's not the challenge of the distance so much in this one. So I'm not as terrified. But for example, the 100-miler, or I was absolutely like, I just cry because I still feel scared, and it's great to feel scared because you're about to do something big. Yeah. So it's just doing it with fear. It's scared that TikTok, or I don't know, this like a saying. Like, if you're scared, just do it with scare, like being scared.
Yeah.
Still do it, but it's okay to be scared, and it's okay to try it, even though you're like... Fear
encompasses adrenaline as well. So the both of them work hand in hand a lot.
That's why probably it's so addictive.
Yeah, but I think that definitely, that even watching the videos and the people that we've spoken to in the ultra community and everyone else, it's like, once you get one out of the way, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't actually...
You kind of know how to handle the fear now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall ever speaking to any ultra runner or seeing any ultra runner on any documentaries that said, oh, I just done one and that was it. I wasn't able to do one anymore.
I know. That's a good point.
They seem to be that they get the bug for it and they continue to do it.
If you are an ultra runner and you did only one race and hated it and you never did it again, we wanna hear from you.
But I think anybody listening to that, if they go back and reflect and watch these documentaries or speak to someone and they're maybe not sure whether or they're a bit frightened of doing an ultra, try it. Yeah, I know that's coming from someone that's not going to try an ultra.
Guys, we have it in camera. He's saying that.
But I think the people that are thinking about it, that's a better way to put it. That's a better way to put it. The people that are thinking of doing it and they're fearful of it.
2026.
Try it.
Andy's going to run it.
Because there's definitely something in the fact that everybody that does one seems to do a lot.
I was going with a comparison chat as well, that I think we also want to compare what we see in the media, and we see in the media like go hard and go home kind of thinking, the way that we talk about this with Sarah as well, and it's not the way to approach training or life or anything really. So I think we're scared of that go hard and go home and like that thing. So getting a read of that thought is one, and the other one is the comparison game. There's another saying out there saying, oh, you have to be better than you were yesterday, and you don't really need to be better than you were yesterday, because you're a different person today. So how can I be better against someone that was a different person. Maybe let's talk to moms, for example. Like, how are you going to be better from yesterday? Maybe yesterday you were one younger, you didn't have kids, you were, I don't know, you had a job and a different job, and now your circumstances changed. So, how do you want to compare yourself from today from the person you were yesterday? It's not, there's not even point of comparison, I think. So that, I think that rings a lot of bells for people, like, or even physically, right? Obviously I see some pictures and you can see like, oh, I love how I look when I was like 15. I'm like, well,
Yeah,
you
it's
have
not
to
comparative.
understand, you can't compare yourself,
Yeah.
you know, or you can be like, oh, you're gonna be better than yesterday, 1% every day. Like, that's not really realistic. And I think we need to be real. And I think that's when people start feeling frustrated and not happy, when your expectations are not meeting reality. And I think if you're real since the beginning, if you know that, oh, I'm going to start running, but I am 50 of years, I'm not going to go to the Olympics, I'm not going to win, like, you know your limitations, but you still, it's not going to stop you doing it, but you're real with the outcome. Like, I know I love ultra running and I'm training. I'm not gonna die and kill myself training. My expectation is not to win the races, because I love my life how it is right now. I like
Yeah.
having a nice balance of, I want to go out, I still want to have fun, I still, I have a lot of things that I want. Like, if my goal was to win, maybe, it would be different. But also I know, like, maybe my genetics are not made for,
Yeah.
sprinting in the desert, but that's not going to stop me of not signing it up.
Funny story for us.
Oh
I
god.
think I think Tanya had a proudest moment of me during the week there, because she came in and I was watching the Coopcast.
Oh yeah.
So I was watching
Shout out Coop.
Jason Coop and our friend Sarah um, on a podcast, and it was another trainer as well. And what they were doing is talking about strength training. And actually,
Oh, because you want to get better in your strength training,
yeah,
right?
because
That's why you were watching
I
it.
was
Yeah.
really interested to see what they were saying about it, because obviously that was where I started,
Yeah.
and now I've moved over to running and
running.
in strength, and I'm trying to balance both of them. And obviously, I've got so much respect for Sarah anyway. I think that she's amazing. But I was interested to hear what they said in the podcast, and they were saying exactly what you were saying there. And they were talking about how they program different athletes, and for different athletes not to expect the same, because they're different
Yeah.
people. So
Even
for
if I
two,
train the same as the Olympic winner,
yep,
I'm going to get totally different
different
results because
results.
my
Yeah,
genetic is different.
yeah,
They've done studies of twins, giving them the same exact food, the
yeah.
same nutrition, the same everything, lifestyle, and they
The-
totally look different.
yeah, totally look different
So
and run different and everything about it.
exactly.
So, and that's one of the things actually. And while I always respect and appreciate what Tanya does as a personal trainer, I think that's one thing watching that podcast I came away with as well, about how much respect and how much thought that I've seen that goes into giving training and
Oh yeah,
programs to
totally.
people.
I think it's
Because
like an art as well.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
obviously based in knowledge, but me as a coach, it involves a lot of art on it as
yeah,
well, because you have to kind of balance that with their life
yeah,
as well. You have to like know them in a personal level as well,
yeah,
because you're not programming a machine, you're not programming, a robot,
yeah.
you're programming a human that has, different, we're all different. So, yeah.
But it was funny. Tanya came in. I could see a little tear in her eye when she seen I was watching the Coopcast, and then actually,
So proud.
and then actually, I caught myself on for a minute and thought, I'm watching a running podcast here. What is going on?
This is wrong. It's so great though, because it spikes your curiosity, and when you live life with curiosity, amazing things happen. Even like now, you're like opening your mind to different ideas or different trainings or different ways of thinking, or
Yeah.
and that's the way we like to approach life or anything. And I think, yeah, running the same. So going back to the comparison, yeah, let's not compare yourself to anyone, or not even to yourself. So I think once that pressure is off, we're just so free and so liberated that we have fearless, like you have no expectations anymore and you just go for it. So I feel that worked for me. Once I left all expectations out, like threw them away through the window, I was like, I'm just gonna do this because let's see what happens. And without expecting nothing, no time, no finishing time, no winning time, no, I just want to go and experience the race, and that's it. And with that, I think that opens a lot of doors. So if you're fear or you're scared of trying something new, a new distance, I think if you attack it with that way of not comparing yourself, being a little bit curious, I think amazing things can happen. And let's go chat about Gobi because now people are gonna get them bored.
Where's Gobi?
Mongolia.
We've got it. It's not China. We've got it. It's in the head now. It's in the head
It's
now.
Mongolia. Gobi is not in China, people. It's in Mongolia, but I'll tell you a secret.
What?
No, I'm not gonna say it in camera. That's it.
Go. You can't do that and not see it. Right.
It just came to my mind right now.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where is Mongolia in a map.
Mongolia is...
It's in China.
It
in that
borders
side?
China. There's actually part of Mongolia that belongs to China still. So I think that's maybe where the
Is it
confusion
where-
comes. It borders Russia.
No, I know where's Russia. I think that'll be interesting.
It actually
I'm
borders a
gonna
lot of
write
places
down
around
Google where's Mongolia. So yeah, so we're watching now that we're watching documentaries and stuff. Podcast. We're watching the documentary about Gobi. The great thing about this race is there's plenty of documentaries out there, so you can kind of like go and watch and see the terrain and everything. And if you like to listen, hopefully now you have us to walk you through. But watching is very important, of course, and watching not only one racer or one technique or one experience, but listening or watching as many as you can, because if one person says something and the other one like experience it in a different way, whenever you experience it, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I heard that happened to that person, so it's okay. So you're not like scared of, or or you watch different techniques, or so on, so on. So as much as you can read, hear, or whatever about the race you're about to do, that also gives you a lot of confidence in tackling the task. So for Gobi, we're watching documentaries and we seen that the terrain is totally different. So there's no more not a lot of sand. I think there's only one stage of sand, and everything else looks pretty much hard pack, dirt, and there is plenty of river crossings, which that could be a really, really interesting point, because running in wet feet and then going into sand can be a mix for disaster blister-wise.
For all those known at watch, they know the hand up means a question.
Yeah, he wants to ask a question.
Is there anything that you can do with your footwear or socks or whatever for that sort of thing? So, for example, I remember when we were hiking in Scotland, when we used to go do hikes, I bought those socks.
Waterproof.
What are they called?
The seal skins.
Sealskin socks.
Best waterproof socks
Life.
ever.
Listen, game changer, life changer,
Totally.
everything. Would you, if you know that there's going to be a stage where that is the case and there's a lot of water crossings, you would wear something like that? Because the reason I'm asking is I can't ever imagine in those sealskin socks doing a long distance.
I've done a long distance with those socks, yeah.
Have you?
The Cheviot Gold,
Yeah.
this 50 miler in middle of winter, terrible cold, and I needed it because otherwise your foot will freeze. I have them, and I still have. I don't think I have them though, but I don't know. It's only crossings. It's not like your foot is gonna be wet all the time. It's just like a river crossing.
But still,
So I think I'm not gonna change socks. My socks, the ones that I have and the ones that I swear by, are I've run with those through really wet terrains in Scotland, and they have been okay. Again, you have to find your mix that works for you. Every foot is different. So in my case, I think I'm just gonna stay with what I have. And like I said, even the last long training run that I did in the West Highland Way, my foot was wet pretty much a lot of the times, just because it was raining. And it held up quite fine. So
Okay.
the
Did-
only thing
Do your trainers dry out quite quickly?
there is where the point what I was going to say. The trainers is the problem that not the problem is the thing I knew I had to change this time. So we're going to have different trainers because the trainers I was wearing in the desert, they are not very, the mesh is very thick in the top. So they don't drain very well and they're quite heavy. So the ones that I usually run in trails are a little bit thinner, the mesh. So I'm gonna change for those trainers for this race. And I'm gonna show you. This time I have everything handy because last time I couldn't show you because everything was we were moving. So these are my trail running shoes. For the ones listening, I'm showing you the New Balance. I can't remember their name, but yeah.
I found them, by the way.
Oh my god! And I just found a sock inside. Let's not smell this. So these are the ones that I use for just normal trail running, because we know these races is going to be a little bit more runnable, so a little bit more hard packed, and that's why I'm gonna go with the super shoe with a really high stack, lots of cushioning, and the best tip obviously is the stitching of the Velcro around it always. And if you've seen my pictures, probably you can see that as well. This goes inside my leg or my feet, and then I cover the shoe. Grab this. Thank you. And then we cover the shoe, and then they have another Velcro here, and we kind of like stitch it. So for everyone who is listening, I'm showing you how the gaiters work in the shoe.
It's a bit trickier than I thought.
Yeah.
But having said that, you'll have them on your feet.
It is really tricky to put on as well.
And so once they're all on, that covers the shoe and doesn't let sand in.
That's for the sand. For the river crossings, probably you can just pull it up. I would put it up and just let my shoes obviously soak in. And like I said, these ones are very, very, very thin mesh in the top, and they drain very well. So these are the ones.
Question. Is there not a waterproof gaiter?
I don't think so. But you have the Velcro. It's going to go in. It's going to go in. The water is going to go in. Like, it's going to go in. So, yeah, it's just better, I think, instead of preventing the water going in, I think what you have to think is what shoes can drain well. So avoid all the shoes that are waterproof, I think, because the waterproof don't let the water in, but they don't let the water out either. So if they go in, the water goes in, it's going to be a massive pull, and there's going to be no drainage because it's waterproof. So yeah, just be aware of that. So yeah, instead of thinking like, how can I keep the water out, is how can I not put the water in? Just how can I drain it? How can it drain better? So those. And I wanted to show you, foot-wise as well, I was going to say, again, you have to go with what you like. This race, I think I'm going to we learned about our mistake. So I'm going to take a couple of spicy noodles because we wanted something spicy. So this week we did a tester session of spicy noodles. They were spicy.
They were stinking.
They were good. And they were super. And
how many calories?
I was going to say, it was like so sad because it's like every noodle was like 300 and something. The pot, that's a lot of calories. And a lot of salt. Like I wouldn't eat that in a normal regular day, so I had to like be very brave because I would not eat that but I was like, I need to try them.
It smelled so strong and so spicy. I was looking at it and it was giving me heartburn.
But I needed it. Like it just killed me. It's like half. Yeah, that's a lot of calories. But
so, question.
Off you go.
So was that something that you determined on your last run, that you didn't have the right balance of flavors?
I had the right, like, just salty. Yeah, I guess it was not the right. I just needed more spicy food.
Yeah. Mexican.
Because we spoke about this in the Tabasco situation. So, yeah, there was another Tabasco gone yesterday. So, yeah. That needs to stop. So, hopefully, if we do this, I won't get as salty hungry and spicy hungry. And we're still having the same rule of thumb about 300 odd calories per hour with, very important, 90 grams of carbs. I think that's my good middle. You can go with, I think 90 is the perfect, because you can go as high as 120, but one, that's a lot of food that I cannot carry. And it just gets very complicated. But 90 grams, I think, is a good, for me, worked pretty fine. So that is like one of those goose, or the things that I have. I work with precision gels, and that is, I think there are 30 or 50 grams of carbs. And then I put the carb drink in my bottles, so every time I'm sipping in water, I am, one, getting hydrated and getting carbs in. So that was a really good thing I did in that race. So like, drink your carbs, because maybe it's not as easy to eat them, because it's really hard to, in this case, like, carry 90 grams per hour. It's a lot of food carrying. So it just made it simple to be a powder, and I can throw it in the, and then if I wanted a little bit, if I was feeling a little bit off, which I did, I think in one time, I did put more, like, I concentrated the drink a little bit more. So, because remember, I was very hungry at my race.
Yeah.
I was hungry, but I want to say also that I would never bonked or felt weak because I was hungry. I was just hungry, but it never went to the other, like, to
be
the
fair,
dark
you're always
side.
hungry.
That's the other thing. I think I'm always hungry, so maybe it's just, I kind of, it didn't feel like that stopped me, or, it's not like I was going any super fast anyways, but I never like thought I was losing speed or feeling weak because of the food. So I think it was good, and it never bonked. So I think that's one of the reasons. So just try with different drinks. I forgot, maybe we haven't talked about that much, but powders are really, really good. So and another thing is gut training, of course. So if you know you have a digestive, like a sensitive stomach, like we said, start eating a lot and go for a trot or a jog after eating. I think I'm gonna practice that today, because we're going for dinner, and then I still missed to go for my run, so we're gonna do that. And since I have all my essential bag this time with me, I'm gonna show you really fast here in camera what we have for what's like the essentials, right? I'll do another one when I pack fully, but let's do the essentials that are. I think I just unpacked them from Namibia, so this is exactly how the bag looked. And I divided it in. This was my personal care bag, let's call it. You're laughing already. You're like, what is in that bag? And I want to show you the cutest thing. For the people that are listening, you're going to see the cutest toothbrush in history. So this is my toothbrush.
I had to cut that.
So I cut the handle, and it's just a tiny toothbrush. Listen, it worked. And I could put it in my bag. The problem with the handle was that it didn't fit, so I had to cut it. I had my toothpaste, obviously. So this is my taking care, my self-care bag. My headlamp, I just put it here
You
because
love that headlamp as well,
I
don't you?
love this headlamp, Phoenix. I don't know the number of it. Oh yeah, HM65R. That is. I think it's quite heavy now, because now they're like other ones that are way lighter. So maybe I'll invest in one of those later on. Right now, we'll just stick to that. They ask you for the light, so a red light. Also have that in that bag. A whistle and a compass. I've also bought this one, and that was in that bag as well.
What do you need a whistle for? Just in case anybody
if you see an animal there,
or you're on a ledge.
That's it. You see when
There
I
you
got
go, okay.
lost. This is my shaving cream, but oh my god, I'm just opening it now.
Your shaving cream.
Shaving. It melted. I didn't notice until now, because clearly, like I said, I'm just opening my stuff. It's a Compet. It's the same ones that you put in your blisters that you love.
Oh yeah.
Excellent brand, buy it. And I just love that it was like just tiny, and like you can take it. And it's just, I didn't use it, to be honest. I just put it because just in case there's something chafing around there. But no, I didn't suffer from chafing, because I tape myself. So there was no chafing because I already know my hot spots that are going to be that suffer through the runs. So that is in the back. So we're like right where my bra top kind of sits. I know that shit like burns a lot. So I put a lot of tape in there. Also, like, I've here in the front as well in my chest. I think is where the strap of the top kind of sits and it starts rubbing. So I also taped that part.
Do you get that from the running vest
No,
or your
it's the
backpack?
top.
Just the top.
Is the top, yeah.
It's funny. I would have expected it to be your backpack that would do it.
I've seen people taping their shoulders because the backpacks were rubbing them. I packed clearly some spare ones just in case, but it didn't happen. I think I was going way too slow. There was no rubbing. But I packed, so I never needed any chafing thing because it was great. They ask you for a mirror as well, so I packed a tiny mirror.
So you can see how much you're sweating.
To be honest, I think I never used it, but it's part of the kit. And I packed as well my earplugs. That I don't know if it makes a difference, to be honest, but yeah,
That's
they
to
were
try and
packed.
help you sleep, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think it worked. I can still hear everything. I can still hear my head. Like, well, I guess they don't cover your
Just
your thoughts.
Merenguita, for those who remember Merenguita.
I guess my thoughts. Those are not against my thoughts. And yeah, I don't know if they work, to be honest. But yeah, I bought another big roll just in case. But I think I have enough. And this is a medical kit. Also, the medical kit is a mandatory kit, part of it. So in this one, there are things that. So there's another different bag for those that are listening, and it's an emergency blanket. One of those just foil ones is fine. They ask for tapes, different type of tapes, and different size of tapes, so you can cut them.
So what's that for?
That is like a tape. It's really thick though. I would never use it, but it's part of the mandatory kit, so I have to put it in there.
What for taping?
Yeah. Let's say. Well, I did use it. I'm lying. I did use it for my heel because I had a wee blister in the heel, and I put it in there just because it's big and it kind of cover the whole heel, so it's not gonna. Okay. But this is for the blisters as well. You use them. We use them for your blister.
Brilliant.
So that's
who makes them? Everybody should have these.
It's just tape,
The
just
end
like,
tape.
just like normal tape. Alcohol wipes. And by the way, guys, this is like a kit that I will carry if you're running anywhere. Well, not in the street, perhaps, but if you're trail running anywhere, this is, I think, the safety kit that everyone should have in their backpacks. I had this one, maybe not as big, but I did have one or two of these everythings in my backpack, just emergency, and you never know. So alcohol pads, because you never know when you're gonna like scratch yourself or something. Competes. These are for the blisters as well. Really, really good. These are my favorite brand to cover the blisters.
Mine too.
And look at this. One is open because I used it to pinch that blister. The other one still is closed. But look at this fun babe.
Oh.
I'm showing a needle, a really thick needle. But yeah, a needle to drain the blisters. But yeah, I use that one.
As my mum would say, you have somebody's eye out with that. Make sure you put it away properly.
I know, exactly. Yeah, just be very careful. I think I just used it like once to pinch a tiny blister. So, and the doctor said that I could clean it and keep it because I was using it on myself and I like barely use it. Oh. So I'm going to keep the 2 for the next race. I think they ask you for 2 anyways. And the last piece of mandatory equipment is a multi-tool. And this is very, very handy because
it's like a Swiss Army knife.
It's a Swiss Army knife, yeah. And I picked the smallest possible that I could find. And because I have no nails, I cannot take it out.
Yeah,
so I tried to open this side. So the ones that I used the most was the little scissors. They were like so cute. But yeah, that is what I have in my backpack. And like I said, I think everyone should be investing in these safety things for your runs, because you never know when you're gonna need them. So yeah, safety first, guys. Yeah, multi-tool, and it has like the cutest scissors here. And this was
Did you have to make that noise when you done it?
and actually I did use them to cut the tapes that I taped myself with. So yeah, very important. All this is part of the mandatory kit. Obviously, if you're doing a different race, they all will have their different, requirements, but I think most of them are around this ballpark of equipment. And super cute, my plastic cup. This is where I would make my coffee. I mean, it's difficult to sit down at the table, so I was like, it was a very like a struggle, but I didn't want to carry. I didn't want to carry a metal one or a foldable one because they were a little bit.
From GB Ultras.
I mean, the other ones were like 10 grams, and this is literally nothing. So
yeah, that's
grams
cool.
count. So yeah, and this one was the ones I use in my normal races, guys. Just a normal one, so you can put your Coke in here. As you can see, it's been very used. Things like even the color is different. Gross, but it's clean, promise. And yeah, you can just like squish it and put it like in your bag. So I just love that. And this is the star of the show. This is my microfiber tiny towel.
Oh, I have one of them as well.
It is the best purchase for any run. I still use it right now. And this literally saved me in the desert, like I said. This is my work dessa bandana. Oh, jeez, it smells a little bit. All right, let's not do that. Bandana. I soaked it up like wet and put it, there and then at the end of the day, I'll put some water on it, and then that will be my shower. This is what I would shower.
They are brilliant. They dry off so quickly, those things.
And then it was easy to wash. I'm going to say wash in like columns because you're not supposed to wash, but they had soap for washing your feet. That's one of the things that is provided, just to wash your feet, because they don't want you to get, your feet get infected. So they do have a tiny bit of soap there. So I did grab a tiny soap and a bit of water, and I washed it every day, and that, that worked fine. So, and even for just normal runs right now in the heat, and, it can be really covers you. And the best part is super tiny. So I usually kind of like put it in here.
Sound effects again.
Yep. And I'm just showing you how it can just get into the tiniest, and it's like literally weightless. And I did added this hook because I didn't want to lose it, so I just hook it into my backpack, and I have it handy everywhere I go. So yeah, hook it and then open the thing, and then I can pull it out, and just there you go.
Incredible technology.
I'm telling you, like, I think just having the right things just saves, so much. So yeah, this is pretty much all the stuff. Oh no, I need to show you this. I bought something really funny, and I think I'm gonna bring them for this race. So these are like paper pants from Red Light, by the way.
What the?
I know. I'm gonna be, guys. People that listen in Spotify, you need to go to YouTube for this, because these are my paper pants. They are literally weightless, and they are. I don't know if they are super warm. They are though. They feel warm-ish.
Not that I'm trying.
They're gonna cover you. Don't break it.
Not that I'm
Don't
trying to break them,
it.
but that is super strong.
Jesus. Oh my God. Give me this. Don't break it.
Very, very strong. Very strong.
What if it broke if you were like just testing it?
I would have blamed it on a dog.
Yeah, exactly. So these are the pants. These are going to be like my probably PJs. Because if you remember, Andy lent me your pants for the last one.
Oh yeah, the Nike Trail
So
ones.
I don't need your pants anymore. Woo-hoo. These are my... These are going to be the pants that I'm going to be wearing during the night, and just when my shorts are drying.
From our friends at Red Light.
Friends from Red Light, and I think that's the new additions that the new ones, and the new trainers that I will be using for this race. And yeah, excited. I'll show you guys if you're interested in the final pack. How I'm going to pack everything. It's difficult to pack everything because you need to take it with all the original packaging through security. So I would be able to pack fully until I get to the destination. But I can give you a rough idea on how the pack looks and how I'm dividing the food between each day, I guess. And yeah, keep sending your questions. Oh, we don't have time for questions today, but if
I have a question for anybody that's viewing it on YouTube. Write in the comments what movie Tanya's t-shirt's from.
I just put that on Instagram.
Did you?
Guess the movie.
Guess the movie.
Best movie if you are a runner. I think half of the runners I know, they're like their favorite movie is that movie.
So no more hints, no more tips.
Right. Okay.
If you know what movie it is.
If you live close enough, or we can send you. We're gonna send a couple of giveaways that we have
coming up soon.
For whoever gets it right.
Oh, are you going to do a giveaway for?
If they get it right. Let's say the first.
Love a competition.
3 or 5, because if we are able to send it, because obviously it's been proven to be really difficult, the postage situation in Dubai. So if we can send them, we'll send you guys a wee present from the Ultra Happy podcast if you can guess the movie. And have a great weekend. Hope you felt a little bit inspired to do something crazy like Andy in the next couple of weeks, months.
Hold on a minute. Nobody agreed to it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Have a wonderful weekend. Keep training hard. Keep showing us your or sharing the podcast, please. And follow us on Instagram as well. Subscribe. That's very important for us. We have a lot of viewers or listeners more than viewers. But if you are listening to the Spotify, just go into the YouTube and just kind of like or subscribe there. And that will be a really, really, even though you don't see it in YouTube, just subscribe. But keep.
I think you're going too far now.
Yeah, I do that for the podcast that I like, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, but I don't watch the podcast in YouTube. You are the opposite, but I go in the YouTube and I subscribe just because I know they help them, even though I don't really watch them, but I do listen to all the podcasts. So if you're a listener, please go and subscribe.
We would
and if
appreciate
you
it.
watch in YouTube, go and like it in all of the podcast platforms. That would really, really help us, and that will still help us to keep bringing you guys all the information and keep bringing you into all these adventures. And again, have a wonderful weekend. Keep doing whatever makes you ultra happy.